So, how do you actually train a leader for the toughest decisions you can possibly imagine? You know, the kind of moments where lives are on the line and there are absolutely no easy answers? Well, today we're going to dive into a really revolutionary new framework that uses AI to forge the judgment of military commanders for exactly those moments.
For generations, really, the answer has always been some mix of studying history, classroom exercises, and, of course, field training. But just think about this question for a second. Is reading about some battle from the past truly enough to prepare a commander for a future one? Especially when the situation is basically a no-win scenario by design? There is a huge gap between knowing something in theory and making that call under unbelievable pressure. And closing that gap, well, that's exactly what this new approach is all about. Traditional professional military education, or PME, has always leaned really heavily on these static, historical case studies. It's passive. You read, you analyze. This new AI-powered framework, it's the complete opposite. It's dynamic, it's interactive, and it's built on a pretty radical idea that judgment isn't just taught, it's forged in the fire of experience.
And the core concept here is called agentic learning. Now, the easiest way to think about it is like a flight simulator. But instead of training a pilot how to fly a plane, you're training a commander's judgment. The officer gets dropped right into a super realistic simulation and is forced to make repeated, high-stakes decisions where every single choice has a real consequence.
The thinking behind this is absolutely crucial. The system basically argues that true judgment is forged through four key things. First, tons of repetition across all kinds of different scenarios. Second, the ability to fail, but to fail safely. Third, getting immediate feedback that's tied directly to what you just did. And finally, challenges that get harder and harder as you get better. It's really all about building mental muscle memory for command. And this isn't some one-off course you take. The whole framework is designed to span an officer's entire career. So for a junior officer, the focus is going to be on tactical command. As they move up the ranks, the scenarios evolve to cover operational art. And then for the senior leaders, the system throws what they call wicked problems at them. These are incredibly complex challenges with no single right answer, involving tangled strategic, political, and economic factors. The training literally grows right alongside the officer. Okay, so let's pop the hood and take a look at the first major piece of this system: the massive library of scenarios that acts as the training ground. So the foundation of this whole thing is this huge library of over 100 unique tactical scenarios. This is not about just repeating the same problem over and over. It's a really deep well of challenges, designed to cover a huge range of mission types and command levels. That way, the training always feels fresh and relevant. And these scenarios are not all created equal. They're actually tiered across 5 different levels of difficulty. So level 1 might be a really fundamental task against a pretty predictable enemy. By the time you get to level 4, you're facing a near-peer threat in a complex, multi-domain operation. And then, well, then there's level 5. The scenarios are also tailored for specific levels of command. For instance, a company commander might be tasked with defending a single piece of important terrain. A battalion commander, though, has to manage a much wider area. And a division commander, they're planning a major attack involving thousands of soldiers and coordinating with allies from other countries. Each level presents the unique kinds of problems that specific command role faces. And this is level 5. They call them nightmare scenarios, and they are specifically designed to be impossible. I mean, just listen to this. You're outnumbered 3-1, you're low on ammo, and you are forbidden from retreating. The goal here isn't to win. It's to test a commander's reasoning, their ethics, and their leadership when every single choice is a bad one. But look, a library of scenarios is just the stage, right? What really brings them to life is the second key component here, the AI agents themselves. Now, this is a really critical point. You are not just playing against some adaptive AI opponent. The system fills the entire environment with AI. You have an AI superior officer giving you orders, you've got AI staff officers who are demanding clarity, and you have AI subordinate leaders who execute your commands. Or maybe they fail to if your orders aren't clear enough. This doesn't just test your tactics, it tests your ability to lead and persuade a full team. And the simulation gets incredibly deep. This isn't just some generic AI. Each agent is a fully realized persona. I mean, get this. Take Major General Iron Mitchell. He's the Keystone Division commander. The system defines his entire character, his command philosophy, his decision-making process, his personality quirks, like drinking black coffee and quoting Sherman, and it even defines his internal fears. This just moves the challenge way beyond tactics and into the realm of psychology, forcing you to actually lead, not just command. And he operates with unbelievable fidelity. When Major General Mitchell gets a mission, he follows a structured 7-step military decision-making process, from that initial analysis all the way through to issuing the final orders. This forces the learner to interact with a commander who thinks and plans in a really rigorous, by-the-book way. So we've got the scenarios and we've got the AI agents, but you might be wondering, what's the technology that actually powers this entire thing? Let's touch on the architecture real quick. It's basically a modular 3-layer system. At the top, you have the orchestration layer, which uses tools like NNN to manage the flow of the scenario. It's kind of like the director. The middle is the AI layer, which runs all the agents using powerful large language models like Anthropic's Claude. And at the bottom, you've got the data layer, which stores all the scenarios, decisions, and doctrinal information. This setup is what allows the simulation to feel both huge in scope and deeply responsive to your every decision. And all of this leads to the ultimate outcome. Where traditional education often relies on, a written essay for assessment, this framework provides an objective, data-backed evaluation of a commander's actual decisions and their real, tangible consequences inside the simulation. The focus shifts from theory to application. So, what does this all mean? Look, this is about way more than just military training. Let's take a look at the bigger picture here. The reason this matters so much is that this entire framework is basically a blueprint for developing expertise in any high-stakes profession. Just imagine a surgeon practicing a complex operation, or an emergency manager responding to a crisis, or maybe a CEO navigating a market collapse, all of it happening within a safe, repeatable, and data-rich simulated environment. The common thread is the need for judgment under pressure, and this provides a powerful new way to develop it. And that really brings us to the core takeaway. This represents a fundamental shift in how we think about competence. It's about moving away from value in what a person can write or say, and shifting toward measuring what they can actually do when the pressure is on. It's about executed competence. Which leaves us with a final, pretty fascinating question. We've seen how this technology can simulate the chaos of war to forge a commander's judgment. So, what other incredibly complex, high-stakes decisions could this kind of agentic learning teach all of us how to make better?